Okay. And then we're doing a special meeting first.
I'll combine it under change.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Thank you for everybody for coming tonight. Could everybody stand and salute the flag with me? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and you may be seated. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, so there is a special agenda that will run concurrent with the regular meeting. It has one discussion item, 6.1, so that will be added as 6.1 on the regular agenda, and the remaining items will just move down. And then there's one additional closed session item that's going to be added.
Okay, so we're going to add it to 6. It's going to be right here then?
Yes, 6.1. It'll be the first discussion.
Okay. Okay, council, would you like to accept the agenda?
I'll make a motion to, can you hear me? I'll make a motion to accept the agenda.
And I will second that motion.
It's been motioned and seconded to accept the agenda. Roll call, please.
Councilman Horn,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Singleton,
Aye.
Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Atkinson, Mayor Ramsey.
I vote aye. Okay. We'll go to awards presentation, the proclamations, and appointments. Presentation for award to the retiring wastewater treatment plant chief plant operator Alvaro Picado for 26 years of service to the city of Coalinga.
Are we plugged in? We are. Okay. Al, you want to come over here? So I have the honor of issuing a certificate of recognition for Al Preciado for his 26 years with the city of Coalinga, and spent many of those as our chief wastewater treatment plant operator. I've had the pleasure of working with Al for a few years, but we've known each other from acquaintances in City Hall, over the past years that I've worked here. So we appreciate all the hard work, and I'm not sure if everyone knows, but he's actually the mayor, I think recently re-elected mayor of Avenal as well. So it's always been nice to have conversations with him about things that they're doing in Avenal as well. So it was a pleasure working with you, and thank you for all your service to the city of Coalinga for this long period of time. And by the way, your plaque is on its way.
I just would like to thank the city of Coalinga, city staff, city manager, city council for allowing me to. Actually, I started in '95 as a part-time, and in April '96, I became full-time. But I really enjoyed working for the city of Coalinga. Even though I live in Avenal, I think this is my second home after 27 years actually working. I really enjoy working, and I commend everyone that make this a nice place to work and retire. So I'm blessed, and I would like also the best for my fellow employees that continue working. I know that their time will come, and I also wish them the best in their retirement. So it's a great place to retire. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Yeah, Al's been one of our longest employees that lasted for a long time. So I think the only other person that's done that is like the city manager, Marcus, and he was 20, God, I don't even remember how many years he had. 24? Oh, okay. That's kind of short, but I thought he was longer than that. And then do we have any other employees?
Anthony Uribe's been here for, well, Al probably knows how many years Anthony's been here, probably close to about the same time as him.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing it with us. Okay. Okay, next we go presentation of programs offered by the California Department of Insurance. Richie Salvano? Sorry, Richie.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for having me. Normally I do have a presentation ready to go, but I can definitely freehand it. Good evening, City of Coalinga. My name is Richie Saivong. I'm with the California Department of Insurance, and by no means am I here to sell you any type of insurance. I'm here to let you know, as a department, we're here to assist you with all your insurance needs, as well from ranging from life, home, fire, auto, all the insurances under the umbrella of the sky. So, quick opportunity here. So I would like to give a quick overview about what the department is, as well as the law in California regarding automobile insurance. So, a little bit about the department. We regulate all lines of insurance. So, any business here in any insurance company here in California has to come through my department. We regulate the insurance companies, the agents, brokers that all sell insurance here. A little known fact is California is the largest insurance marketplace in the United States, 4th in the world. Collectively, Californians, we pay $340 billion a year in insurance premiums. So somebody has to really manage that, right? So our elected insurance commissioner, Commissioner Ricardo Lara, he does ensure that these insurers are solvent, consumer complaints are addressed in a timely manner, and insurers and licensees do play fairly in the marketplace. Everything we do here at CDI is to protect you, the consumer, from fraud and abuse from insurance companies. So, what can we do for you, the consumer? Anytime you have a question about insurance, give us a call. Our phone number is 800-927-4357, and you can always visit us at www.insurance.ca.gov. Yes, 800-927-4357. So, on our website, we do have educational information regarding all types of lines of insurance. We have resources and phone numbers available for every insurance company. And you can even look up your agent or broker to see if they're licensed and in good standing. So we do have the tools to assist you when you're shopping for insurance, like the premium survey, the complaint study, and so much more. So, you're wondering what the California law is, right? Well, in California, you have to have proof that you have financial responsibility of insurance. So at minimum, you do have to have liability insurance. If you get pulled over and you don't have insurance, what happens? Your license gets suspended. You get a ticket. Your car gets impounded. That all adds up to thousands of dollars. In reality, the program that we have is called the California Low Cost Auto Insurance Program. On this program, it's been around since 1999, and it's been designed to help income-eligible Californians, regardless of immigration status, receive basic liability insurance. And since its inception, there's been millions of Californians that have gotten basic liability insurance through our program. Being in Fresno County, you're looking at $244 a year for basic liability insurance, which is pretty good, which works out to a little over $20 a month. So, you're wondering, how do you qualify for this? Well, you need to have a valid driver's license or an AB60. Second, you have to have a vehicle with a value of under $25,000, and it cannot be financed under a loan. Next, we do check the income level, and it's based on the number of dependents in your household. So all kids, all grandparents, everybody. And you have to be at least 16 years old. And lastly, you can't have a bad driving record. So no accidents with bodily injury or lots of speeding tickets on your record. And let's see. So what do you need to apply? Yes, so the AB60, driver's license, registration, and proof of income. So proof of incomes could be like W-2, 1099s, SSI statements, etc. One other thing that I do like to mention, those that are on CalFresh, Medi-Cal, CalWorks, if you qualify for those programs, you do qualify for CLCA. So how do you apply? So give us a quick visit. It's called mylowcostauto.com. It's an eligibility questionnaire. It's about 7 questions. It's all online. And once you do complete that, an agent will reach out to you. That way they can gather all the documents and take 20% of your down payment. And that's pretty much it. We do have a chat feature on the website, as well as a hotline that you can call in English or Spanish. And that phone number is 866-602-8861. And you're wondering, this is a really great program. How do I partner with the Department of Insurance? Well, I'm the liaison for all the elected officials out here. I do love to work with outreach organizations that are out here in Coalinga, as well as the Central Valley. You can always help by disseminating information about CLCA in your community, and I'm hoping that the City of Coalinga will add the CLCA logo and information on their website. And if you're ever curious, I can always attend your staff meetings or your training events, and definitely refer us to any organizations that work to low and moderate income Californians. But if you are looking to apply for the California Low Cost Auto, please give us a visit at our website at mylowcostauto.com, or give us a call at 866-602-8861. And if you have any general questions related to your insurance, any problems, give us a visit at insurance.ca.gov, or you can always give us a call at 800-927-4357. Well, this will conclude my presentation. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Is there any questions from the audience? Well, thank you, Richie. And
Thank you.
hopefully somebody will get a hold of you and save us some money.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we'll have the presentation on natural gas market and future outlooks on rates.
Hello, Mayor and City Council. Richie was talking to us about insurance and what we accomplished with the natural gas enterprise coming through the summer and into the fall was effectively insurance by buying fixed gas ahead of time. This is good news. This is all good news about Coalinga's natural gas enterprise right now. Gas prices are higher, but if we had not purchased ahead, the cost the city would have incurred would have been astronomical. For example, if we hadn't bought fixed price gas through the winter, and in January in particular, the cost in January alone would have been $1 million. That's gas at around $40 an MMBTU. That's the entire budget for a year. So I'm more relieved than anything. You City Council supported the rates that we needed. We turned right around after you approved the rate increase in the fall and bought gas to make sure that those rates would be adequate. If you remember, the rates in that resolution are effective for 1 year. They reset in the fall again of 2023 because we know that prices will eventually settle down. The other thing that's in that resolution that I certainly haven't forgot about is a commitment to come back to you, City Council, with a gas purchasing strategy going forward. We're now in an era where we can't buy monthly priced gas anymore. That's what the city had been doing for years and years. Fortunately, we anticipated what happened this winter and bought the gas. How we knew how to do that, how I recommended to do that, was simply looking at what had happened in Texas, which everybody heard about, the horrible effect that had on municipal utilities. Essentially, I saw that and thought that could come to California, and it did. So a couple slides for you. The first slide shows the hedges. Oh, I have the clicker. If I can push the right button. Is it the arrow? The red button.
There it is.
Oh, okay. So we bought gas in August at $8.88. That was the base load on the bottom. And then we came back in September after the City Council approval and bought more gas at $8.39. What I'm showing you here is the annual profile for the city. It shows winter peaking because the city is all about heating. And it's showing that for the winter months, we're almost completely hedged based on a 3-year average load for the winter months. Where that little arrow is, that little bit of yellow, that's where we bought some day gas in December. Day gas in December was up to $60 an MMBTU. Customers were buying gas at $60 compared to $8, or compared to where the market would normally be in the wintertime, $5. It's it's literally out of control. But people were paying that price. We had to buy an additional 4,200 units. The price for that gas was $16 to $28. So I was able to watch the market and buy opportunistically. And I was able to do that because Shell Trading Company, who is the gas provider to the city, is very flexible with the city because the city's gas load is in their larger pool, which is enormous, hundreds of thousands of MMBTUs. So when the utility is saying we have to balance load, we can fudge a little bit because Shell has a lot of leeway in their pool. They have done an outstanding job for the city over the years. Next slide. This shows the market run up into January. So January posted at almost $40 in MMBTU for monthly base load gas that you buy every day of the month in the same volume. Day prices in December had run up to the $60 that I mentioned, but that didn't happen until after the beginning of the month. So why? What happened in the market? It was cold in December in the entire West. There wasn't a lot of wind for the renewables. There's low hydro coming out of the drought. Maintenance on transmission lines. Just a whole combination of factors that caused gas supply to be low. The full effect of that is now showing in January. Day prices in January aren't that high as $40. They're down around $15. So the market is trying to get back to some form of normalcy. Next slide. Talking to myself. This is an illustration of storage in the western states, and this is showing one of the main reasons that prices have gone so high. The red line shows where storage is now. PG&E's storage capacity, SoCalGas storage capacity primarily. There is a shortage of gas and storage, so when it gets cold, the big utilities are pulling harder on the open market. And then I wanted to show you my PG&E bill. This is the one I just got. So you can see for 91 therms, I paid $237, $238 if you round it. If I were to buy those same therms from Coalinga under the existing rates, it's about $100 less. So even though Coalinga's rates have gone up, we increased them 50% in the fall, and we increased them before that, they're still much lower than PG&E and much lower than SoCalGas as well. SoCalGas, looking at one of their bills today, isn't quite as high as PG&E. One thing you see, does this have a pointer? No. The 0.98, that is $9.80 an MMBTU. That would be comparable to the gas that we bought in the $8 range. That number for 1/1/23 forward is over $1 now. I think it was $1.23 I saw on the PG&E's website. So PG&E's rates are very high, and in the next billing cycle that I will see at home, even higher. Coalinga's gas system is a valuable asset to the city. Fortunately, we've made some great decisions. Otherwise, it would be not pretty. And I just hope, City Council, that you see this and the public can see it. It's been good for the city. As far as the outlook is concerned, gas prices this high are not sustainable. So as we will come back to you with a gas purchasing strategy going forward, what you're going to see is that we'll purchase gas in layers, probably out to a few years. So we're averaging in cost variation and also giving the flexibility to watch when the market dips down. We would never buy long-term gas where the market is right now. So, and then finally to close, we took some good steps with the gas system, anticipating what could happen. As we talk about water later on in this meeting, that presentation about water is all about preparing. And so we did it once. I'd like to see the city do it again by being prepared for what could happen, even though it's raining so much, but still to have drought rates in place. Thank you. I made it through that without coughing.
You did a good job. And you saved us a lot of money. Thank you very much. How long have you been doing this now?
Well, when I graduated from college, I
No, I
went
mean
to
when you started with that. When you started with us,
22 years.
22 years,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
Coalinga was my first municipal client, and now, of course, I have clients up and down the valley. But this is where I started, so you guys have a special place.
But Dan, if you want to drop your PG&E rates, we do have housing here for you.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, next I have a proclamation. This is a proclamation by the mayor of the city of Coalinga for Family Court Awareness Month. They're not here tonight. We tried to do this before, but it was hard to get anybody here for it. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. But whereas the mission of the Family Court Awareness Month Committee is to increase awareness on the importance of family court system that prioritizes safety and acts in the best interest of children. And whereas the mission of the Family Awareness Court is fueled by the desire to create awareness and change the family court system for the conservative estimates of 58,000 children a year, ordered into unsupervised contact with physical and sexually abusive parents, while honoring the hundreds of children who have been reported as murdered during visitations with a dangerous parent. And whereas the mission of the Family Court is to increase awareness on the importance of practically-based education and training on domestic violence, child emotional and psychological abuse, childhood trauma, child sexual abuse, corrosive control, post-separation abuse, for all professionals working on cases within the family court. And whereas the mission of the family court is to increase awareness on the importance of using scientifically valid, evidence-based treatments and service that are proven in the terms of safety, efficiency, and therapeutic value. And whereas the mission of the family court is to educate judges and other court professionals on evidence-based peer review research. Such research is a critical component to make decisions that are truly in the best interests of children. This research includes the adverse childhood experiences, ACE, study co-principal investigator Vincent Felli, Kaiser Permanente, CDC, child custody evaluators, beliefs about domestic abuse allegations, principal investigator Daniel Sanders of the University of Michigan, sponsored by the National Institute of Justice, and the child custody outcome in the cases involving parent annihilation and abuse. Allegations, principal investigator Joan S. Muir, GW Law School, sponsored by the National Institute. Now, therefore, I, Ron Ramsey, Mayor of the City of Coalinga, do hereby proclaim the month of November to be Family Court Awareness Month. In a witness, therefore, I have set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Coalinga to be affixed on the third day of November on this day in November 2022. And that is it. Okay, and we'll get this to the Family Court. Thank you very much. Okay, next we'll have citizens' comments. This section of the agenda allows members of the public to address the City Council on any item within the jurisdiction of the council. Members of the public, when recognized by the mayor, should come forward to the lectern, identify themselves, and use the microphone. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes. In accordance with state open meeting laws, no action will be taken by the City Council this evening, and all items will be referred to staff for a follow-up and a report. Citizens' comments submitted in writing to the city clerk by 5 o'clock on the day of the City Council meeting shall be distributed to the City Council and included in the record. However, they will not be read. Is there anybody who would like to address the council? Sir?
City Council. My name is James Gish, and I've supplied you with a document provided to me by our new police chief. It's sensitive in nature and very private, and I don't really feel like I'm in a position that I want to enlighten all of these people that are in attendance. So I've been assured by the police chief's office that this is the proper venue to address it. However, I disagree with him in totality. I think that this should have been handled by him. Personally, I phoned his office yesterday and asked for a meeting to address this issue, and I was denied that time. So I brought the matter before you, and I would ask that you forward my funds and my paperwork to the Fresno County Sheriff's Department so they can issue the proper paperwork. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to address the council? Mary?
Hi, Mary Jones, Coalinga, College Street, District 1. I just have a question about changes to the agenda, because I look at the agenda often and I really didn't see that added thing, 6.6,
6.1.
about changing the venue of the Derby. And so when was that added, and how do we know if we've got the agenda, do we check every day, or when was that changed?
So
I know you're not supposed to
I know.
answer me, but,
So technically, a special agenda can be added 24 hours prior to the start of the meeting.
So is there any way that, I'm on the hit list, I thought that I would get like a notification or something that was changed, so I can look again? So I'll request that you consider giving just a button push to those of us who have signed up for that. Because I'm signed up both as a private citizen and as a newspaper. So thank you. Just consider that. You don't have to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Is there anybody else? Nathan?
City Manager and Council. I just wanted to publicly thank the Public Works for getting those sandbags, whoever was involved in that, and the fire department as well for having that available. No one really knows how bad a disaster is going to be until it gets here, and so having the ability to have to do that proper planning is amazing. And I know a lot of people probably, I don't know how many people took advantage of it. I know I did. And I just want to let Public Works know that I appreciate that, and that makes a big difference, and it goes a long way in our community, having that support. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Anybody else?
All right, good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council Member, City Manager. My name is Anthony Lopez. I'm a resident for the City of Avenal, 600 Sonoma Lane. I also work for the City of Avenal alongside Mayor Preciado. I just wanted to come in, first of all, wishing everyone a Happy New Year, and also just wanted to give thanks to the City of Coalinga for a lot of good collaboration and help that you've provided to the City of Avenal. I'll start off with City Manager Marissa Trejo. She is an asset to your community. She's been an asset to me as well. Anytime I've needed any assistance, any work with the city, she has done a great job. I've been with the city 6 years, 2 years in my current position, but anytime I've needed something, she is a great resource. And likewise, I know we've collaborated and worked on a lot of things, particularly water. Thank God that it's been raining a little bit more this year, but I know that these coming years might continue to be tough, and I hope that we can continue that collaboration and working together, working with the Bureau and finding solutions, some sort of long-term solution, along with our other neighbor Huron. So we're not always at the wire with the Bureau, requesting for additional water, waiting for a response, and always going over our allocation. Definitely not a situation that our communities like to be in. And then the last thing I'll say is I do want to give a huge special thanks to your council member, James Horn. He has also helped our community quite a bit as a DJ, as he comes to our meetings, and most Especially this past month, he helped us design a crown for our Christmas tree. And, you know, this gentleman right here never hesitates, always answers the phone, always willing to help us, doesn't charge us, and always wanting to see how we can do more for the communities, not just Coalinga and Avenal, but surrounding. So I know you guys are going to go through a reorganization pretty soon. Congratulations, Mayor Ramsey. You've had quite a long
Thank you.
and distinguished career. I call you the Cassida of Coalinga, if you know who Mr. Cassida was. But,
Yes.
you know, I think you have a very good candidate right here, James Horn, who could hopefully take the next step as well. So that was all I wanted to say. Thank you all, and hope for continued collaboration with your city. Thank you.
Yeah, Cassida was a good friend.
He's the best.
Yeah. Anybody else? Uh-oh, we let him start. Now he's going to keep going. I'm just kidding you. Thank you.
I was gonna say, I'll just steal his when he leaves if you don't have one. Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. As you know, my name is Alvaro Preciado. Tonight, I'm representing the city of Avenal as the mayor. I do have a letter of recommendation for council member Jim Horn. As the elected mayor representing the city of Avenal, it is with great pleasure that I write this letter of recommendation on behalf of council member Jim Horn. I have known Jim Horn for over 22 years and have worked with him on several special events, committees, and projects through the city of Coalinga, and also with the greater San Joaquin Valley. Working alongside with Jim Horn, I have always found him to be caring and passionate leader and exemplary community member. He is a self-starter, hard worker, and above all, very much a team player, putting service above self in everything he does, going out of his way to help out my community of Avenal as a DJ, a judge, and most recently, helping design a crown to help beautify the city of Avenal Christmas tree. He always pick up the phone and willing to lend a hand and help any which he can, donating his time, money, and expertise without expecting anything back in return. The contribution that Jim has made in our community has also been outstanding and a wonderful accomplishment in itself. He puts in a lot of time and effort into building relationships outside of the city to represent Coalinga on a county and state level. To learn and grow as a local leader, as much time is required of the position of a council member, and he's doing a great job fulfilling those requirements. I will be a pleasure to continue working with him as the mayor of Coalinga. Thus, this is without reservation that I recommend Council Member Jim Horn for the position of the Coalinga mayor. Sincerely, Alvaro Preciado. I also would like to say that when I came to work in Coalinga in '95, we were working out in the middle of the night, sometimes 1, 2, 3 in the morning. He was always there helping the water plant with the main water leaks. He showed a commitment for his work ethics, but not only has doing his job, but also as a council member. I've been with him in conference in Monterey, in Long Beach, and many other communities in Hanford. So we're in Dinuba, many other places. I've been working very closely with communities outside Kings County. I've been working with communities in Mendota, Clovis, Fresno, and also would like to say that he's been there putting the name of Coalinga up high and trying to bring, the essential fundamentals that we need to grow, to expand. And sometimes it is hard to find somebody with the time and commitment.
Al, I'm
Time
sorry,
is
your
up.
time's up.
Thank you. Well, thank you much for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Mary?
Hi, I'm still me. I didn't realize we were campaigning. So I just wanted to remind everybody, I know you all know that you have some really fine people on your council. And I want to just remind everybody that both Nathan Bosberg and Adam Atkinson have done a stunning job as council members. Both of them have traveled to Sacramento and have been very outspoken and aggressive in finding solutions for the problems of our community. For example, Nathan was right in there getting, and whether you like it or not, getting our city solvent again after being in debt, researching and getting more markets and businesses, and Adam for getting national recognition for our water situation, taking his own time to travel to Sacramento. So I just want to point out that there are excellent, excellent, wonderful candidates among all of your members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Is there anybody else? Sir? Or Nate? Scott. I'm sorry, Scott. I thought if I named them all, I'd find it.
Mayor, Council, Scott Netherton, Kalinga Chamber of Commerce. I just wanted to remind everyone that February 4th, we'll be celebrating our Community Service Awards. The Chamber is one of our best, my favorite events we get to host, where we get to honor a lot of our local community members. Up for final nomination for the Volunteer of the Year, we have Ruth Thurman, Roxanne Valenzuela, and Nancy Jeffcoach, as well as for Business of the Year, Jenabelle Garden, the Bobby Pin, and Dr. Cho DDS. And then Citizen of the Year, we have 4 nominees. We have, don't let me forget anybody, Nero Bonilla. We have Jenabelle Lorenzo, Nathan Vosberg, and then we also have, oh my goodness, why am I drawing a blank? I just looked at it. Didn't want to forget anybody, so I'm going to get this out here so I don't. It is
Was it Gina Bell? I thought she had 2 nominations.
Jenabelle, Nathan, Norma De La Cruz, that's who it is, yes. And so those will be recognizing them on that day and announcing the winners, as well as First Responder of the Year, and then our Leaving a Legacy Award will also be given. Again, that's Saturday, February 4th out at Harris Ranch. There are still a few tickets left if anybody's interested. Following up with that, 4 weeks later, we have Mardi Gras coming around the corner, first weekend in March, and then we're off to Derby. I do want to say, Mayor Ramsey and Councilman Singleton, you guys, on your way out for now. My first year in this position, I want to say thank you for all your guys' support. Anytime I reached out to any of you, you've been there to, give me direction and help me out wherever I needed it. So thank you all very much.
Anybody else? Okay, I'd like to do one thing here. It's not on the agenda, but I'd like to recognize a gentleman tonight. He represented Coalinga and the Elks for the veterans here. His name is Richard Hill. Richard, could you please stand up for a second? And he represents Coalinga very much as a veteran. And I just appreciate you and what you do, and thank you for being there. And he was in the Rose Bowl parade. I think everybody knows that. He just came back from there. So I'd like everybody to just give him a hand.
Well, it was an honor to serve the Elks. It's an honor to be a veteran. And it's very good and very proud and honored to be able to say that I came from Coalinga. And when they said it on TV, it made me say, this is what it's all about. And there was 2 girls. I don't know who they are. I'm going to try to find out who. I'm going to make Scott get on top of that. The 2 girls halfway through the parade, which is a 4-hour ride of standing, come on the crowd out of nowhere, held up a Coalinga flag, with Oscar on it, and say, Coalinga, Coalinga. So he didn't find out who these 2 girls were, because it was very cool to see somebody from Coalinga. That was exciting. So yeah, it was an honor to represent our community.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we go into public hearings. Or is there anybody else who'd like to talk? I'm sorry. Okay, next we're going to go to public hearing. Consideration.
Mayor, is your mic on?
I turned it off.
Oh.
It's still on.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay, consideration of tentative map, application 2201, and further adopting resolution number 4133. Sean?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight, staff is recommending approval of Resolution 4133, approving tentative parcel map application 2201, along with approval of a notice of exemption in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act. The purpose of this agenda item is to hold a public hearing for the City Council to consider the Planning Commission's recommendation to approve a tentative parcel map for assessor parcel number 083090-51 to subdivide an existing approximate 50-acre net acre parcel into one residentially zoned parcel and one remainder residentially zoned parcel. A copy of the parcel map is attached. The purpose of this request is to subdivide the parcel, is to allow for the property owner to sell the residential single-family zone parcel to land to a prospective residential developer, consistent with the Subdivision Map Act. The project is currently designated as single-family residential land, a land use based on by the Coalinga General Plan and zoned residential single-family in the zoning regulations. This application does not include any proposed development approvals or proposals. Any future development to occur on this project site would be required to go under separate entitlement and environmental review, so a subdivision map essentially. This is just basically carving a smaller piece out of a larger piece. On December 13th, 2022, the Coalinga Planning Commission held a public hearing and adopted Resolution 022P-011, recommending approval of the tentative map with conditions from the City Council. So in terms of this particular project, it goes through Planning Commission, then to the Council for approval for any kind of maps, whether it be a subdivision map or a tentative parcel map. So again, there's no development proposed on this site. It's just a matter of carving out a smaller piece in order to sell that off to make it more palatable for a developer to build on a smaller piece of land rather than the 50 acres. So with that, Mayor and Council, staff's recommending approval of resolution number 4133. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy. And again, Mayor, this is a public hearing.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. If anybody would like to talk about this resolution 4133 and the tentative partial map, go ahead. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Mary?
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to have so many questions. Is there a connection, and maybe I'm just an idiot, but I'm looking at this and then I'm looking at the resolution the thing on the consent calendar about Worth and Place Apartments Phase 2.
These aren't associated at all.
The map, it's not the same, because I looked at the map and it looks like it's not.
The property is adjacent to.
Oh, the property's
where the
adjacent, but not the
apartment's
same.
property is.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions? Or anybody else would like to say anything about this? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And council, what would you like to do?
That little picture right there, image, it's to cut off, or what's that gonna be? On the, right in the corner, that little curve.
Let me pull it up real quick. So there's, the parcel map's creating basically 3 parcels. So the 10-acre parcel, or two additional parcels. So it's just the remainder, which will be 49.
Larry, could you pull that up on the screen?
That's Robert back there.
That's
Or
Robert.
Robert, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then parcel 1, which is the 10-acre parcel.
Oh, okay.
So it's just creating those 2 parcels. So originally it's about 50 acres, and then you'll have the remainder.
Oh, okay, all right,
And that parcel that's being carved off is basically the one that's adjacent to the Worth and Place Apartments
Oh, okay.
property line.
okay.
That's right there. Okay.
I mean, yeah, we're good.
If I can make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll go ahead and second the motion.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded to approve adopting resolution number 4133. Roll call, please.
Councilman Horn,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Singleton,
Aye.
Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
and Mayor Ramsey.
I also vote aye. Okay, next we have the consent calendar. We have 14 items. Is there anybody who'd like to pull anything? Okay.
Yeah, I would. Let's see.
Which one?
Number 4
Number 4?
and number 11.
Number 4 and okay, we'll go to number 4 first. That was an informational only, and it was the proposed floor plans for the ADU cottage home program. What would you like to know? The small houses? Yeah.
Is this just more information on, the discussion from previous?
No, so that actually, these are the proposed floor plans for the ADU cottage home program. So we have the ordinance that's already been adopted by the council. These are actually the floor plans that will be the plans that we're developing through a grant we received, where we'll be developing the full set of plans, fully plan checked, and folks will be able to pull permits without having to go through plan check. They'll be permit ready permits with just a slight site review for making sure it fits on the site. But these are the plans that the city will have available for residents to be able to construct, whether it be owner builder or with a contractor on their properties in accordance with the regulations that we've established.
All right. Is it going to be limited to one per site, or can there be multiple?
I think based on the ordinance that was adopted by the council, I think there was the maximum, because state law, it allowed for 2 ADUs on one lot. So if they can fit, they can fit. These are designed to fit on pretty much most of the standard lots in the city. So basically your 50 to 75 foot wide lots. A lot of lots that are 50 foot wide. So these can pretty much all fit on a 50 foot wide lot off the alley as the council approved. Yes, yeah, so there's three different plans that we have proposed. One's a 400, a 616, and then a 960.
So is that the square feet, the 400 and the 916, or
Yeah.
on each one of them? Okay.
Yep. And there'll be options, there'll be elevation options. The 400, which is relatively small, but that's kind of the purpose of some of these ADUs.
Right.
It'll have basically a 1-bedroom or a studio option. And then the other one, the 616, is a 2-bedroom, and then the 960 is a 3-bedroom.
And 2-bath also. in there, so.
Yeah. So we wanted to provide some information to the council regarding this, and that our architects are finalizing and going into full CAD drawings and basically permit-ready plans.
Okay, this is great. Okay. This is information only, so we'll go to number 11, and that was adopt resolution 4131, accepting and approving the election results from November 8th, 2022, Consulate statewide general election. What would you like to know?
Is everybody in compliance with all their paperwork for our part?
For the residency
Yeah,
document?
the residency documents, are they done yet?
So not entirely.
Okay.
Okay. Are we able to extend it, or do we need to do something now?
So on the residency documents, oops, I'm sorry. On the residency documents, that's a requirement, that's an ongoing requirement. So it wouldn't necessarily require you to do anything now. You could still approve the election results, because the residency requires, as always, a requirement to remain a council person for that district.
Okay, any other questions on that? Okay, do we have a consent calendar? Or do you want to, or just, or take one off, or whatever you want to do? Just on the number 11, just what I think, and I can be, you can check me on this if you, we can go ahead and pass this, but even though we do pass it, if somebody doesn't, if we come up with proof that they don't live there or something like that, the seat will be vacated. Is that true?
I was more asking just to verify that everybody's got their stuff in and everything's, we don't get in trouble for not having everything in.
So the election results that you are approving tonight, everyone met those election requirements at that time. So you approving those has no merit on the recertification for calendar year 2023. Those items were due to the city by December 31st, 2022 to certify for 2023, but they don't change the election results because those are based on the November election, and that was, everybody met those requirements at that time.
And I would also add, what I was talking about earlier is the city's requirements to meet those at a point in time. Also, there's the additional requirement that you always live in the district that you represent, which is an ongoing obligation.
You good? Okay, all right.
Someone like a motion
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a motion
to accept?
to accept. Motion to accept.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been motion and a second to accept the consent calendar. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Singleton,
I vote aye.
Councilman Ramirez.
Aye.
Councilman Horn,
Aye.
Mayor Ramsey.
I also vote aye. Okay, we'll go to 6.1 of the other one, and it is consideration of relocating Coalinga Horn Toad Derby to APN 083-090-51S for 2023. Marissa?
Thank you. So Scott Netherton is present. He can come up and answer any questions the council has. There is information in the agenda item, and there's also a map up on the screen. Council is not approving whether or not this can be there. We just need to make sure that you're okay with, you can come up here, Scott, sorry. We just need to make sure you're okay with moving forward, at which time staff would need to bring some items back to you. But we'll let Scott sort of explain what he would like to do on this property for the Derby.
Thank you, Marissa. Back in June of 2022, we held a debriefing here at City Hall where many of you were in attendance following the Derby, where we discussed events that transpired at Derby. And one of the main focuses was, and the primary focus was concerns over the safety of those who attended the event. A real concern for Chief Garza was that he felt that we had just in fact outgrown the property we were on. Comments were made about whether fences should be brought in and steps could be taken to assure everyone's safety. Since before Thanksgiving, we've been in negotiations with Park and Rec about facility usage, and with Derby less than 6 months away, we stand at a crossroads right now. Mr. Richard Griffin is the owner of 40 acres of property located south of Sacramento Street, as shown in the plat you received, and he has offered us use of his property. We understand that this property is currently zoned residential, but we are asking that you consider allowing us 1 year at this location to assess the future viability, where we realize we would need to come back for further discussions before any permanent arrangement could possibly be considered. I've taken the time to draw up a simple site plan that shows what we are proposing. Speaking with Mr. Griffin, he's indicated he felt confident he could reach out to several local families with heavy equipment who could perform grading and compaction and that they could have the property clean, leveled, and compacted as needed to support the traffic and equipment we anticipate bringing in. Ingress and egress would be one-way ingress off of Sacramento Street, so north being top, headed south. Egress would be off There's a lot of usage that it can be in the community. It isn't just for Derby, but we understand it's residential zoned right now, but we would like an opportunity this year to see what we can do and to make it work, because we're having difficulty reaching an agreement with Park and Rec, and we may need to look for future locations anyway. And this opportunity has come, and we think it's in a perfect location. Where we set up the concert area, there's nothing south of there till you hit Paso Robles. So, any questions you have? I'm sure everyone has a lot of questions.
I have a question on liability. Is there any liability concerns for the city?
No, we carry a $2 million insurance policy that always names the city of Coalinga, always named Coalinga Huron Park and Rec. It would be the same this time. We still have our insurance. It would name the city. It would name Mr. Griffin. We'll need to get permission to use that access road off of Pacific. It'll name them as well in case anything were to happen. So,
Sounds like you've done your homework.
well, it isn't something we thought about lightly. I mean, again, I've been here 55 years. Thought of moving Derby out of there, was never even a consideration. But if we said it, again, fencing came up. Years ago, that idea came up, and there were T-shirts made. I can't say what they said, but people did not want fences. So if this is an opportunity, if we're going to do it, we do it right, where there is fenced in. It isn't just people bringing in fences because we don't think Coalinga can control themselves and surrounding the park with, removable fences. This would be a fairground-style facility where, again, many events, it isn't just to keep people in or out for that event, it's basically to keep it secure year-round. So we have put a lot of thought into it, and we hope you'll consider it.
So we basically just need a nod of the council that you're okay with Scott moving in this direction, and then we'll bring some items back that council will need to approve, but he needs to know one way or another because he's already starting to plan for Derby.
Real quick, before you guys say anything, I won't be able to vote on this because in past year, I actually profited from it. It's a possibility I will next year. So I'm gonna be just sitting here not voting at all.
You're abstaining then, yeah.
James. Yeah, skip, beat it.
Does anybody else have any questions? The community?
Do
I
we
think-
need an official vote on this, or just?
I think it's a great idea. I'm glad you made that point between here in Paso Robles. There's a lot of people coming now, and especially when that four-way is going to be done. I mean, I think it's a great idea, and I think, like, you made a perfect reference about that gun. I sat down with Chief. It was a kid, and it was loaded. It was just by an accident that they checked him, and he had it. I think these steps that are being taken and are being brought up to our attention is a great idea because a lot of people depend on this to have their family time. Is getting really big and expanding, and for the safety of the community and for our EMS, police, fire, everybody. I think it's a starting point and a great idea to do something like that. And we never, it's rare when somebody decides to put their land up for our fun and entertainment. So,
I did want to mention as well, up here, there are several areas where it'll have privacy fencing because we do realize there are residents north of the upper parking area. So that would be a fence where you can't see through because their backyard literally has wrought iron and there's nothing south of them, so they never really put anything up. But, and again, the parking is to provide a buffer between their residents and what would be happening on the fairground. Same along with Mr. Griffin's property up there, we'd have privacy fencing to where it can't be viewed inside his area.
Before I comment on this, Scott, I'm thinking what's throwing me off right here? It's your hat. You're not wearing a hat, man. You're throwing me off. I'm looking confused right now.
You might say no, so
I'm thinking, that's what it is. But I mean, it's kind of hard for the city to say no, even though people don't like change. It is what it is. We get comfortable within our zones and we don't like change. But change is a part of life. And I mean, we can't say that you've done a bad job since you've been there to say, no, you can't put this guy out to do this. Everything you've done so far has panned out beautifully. So you've done your footsteps on it. So of course, I mean, there's no way we can say no because you're looking out for the safety, number one. And who knows how many other derbies there's been more lethal weapons and guns there. But you have to address it now than to try to fix it afterwards. You have everything designed out. Put the ball in motion. And yeah, take a shot. Go for it, man. I think the city will definitely stand behind you.
Is that the way you feel too? We're not gonna vote on this, we just have a deal with vote.
Don't forget Richard wanted to say something.
Oh, and Richard Hill, I'm sorry, Richard wants to speak for a second.
Richard Hill, President of the Chamber. Me and Scott have been working been working on this, and he's put his footprint, like you said, on this thing. One of the things that, you know, I want to bring up is that Scott, we've already talked about, is that Butler, eventually, if this thing goes through, Butler will bring bigger and more rides. The bigger the rides, the better the rides are. Guess what we get in Kalinga? We get more people coming to Kalinga, which is a financial, you know, win for Kalinga. So the idea is to make this as big as we can, keep it safe for our community, bring in more kiddie rides for our kids. Also, we can do swap meets there. You know, if we have really good years, maybe even the chamber might even buy the property. If we can buy the property, well, then it's a win-win. We can put a miniature golfs in there. We can have swap meets in there. There's 100 things we can do there. You know, then we can put a statue of myself. No, I'm only kidding. Only kidding. But there's a lot of things we can do with this thing. So it's an absolute win-win not for me and Scott, but for our community and for the kids and the young people coming in. And when people come into Kalinga, they say, what is there to do? There it is. We'll have stuff for them to do. And you guys have got that opportunity right now to say, let's go for it. We're going to give you that shot. We don't know where it's going to end up. We don't know. But we can hope that in 5 years, we have the hugest event in our little area. And that will bring a ton of money and people that want to come and stay here, hopefully. You know, I just wanted to make sure that we got that in. You know, wear a hat, Scott.
Sit down before you talk them out of it. Any other questions?
Yeah, I think we have it from the board to go ahead and do it, so go ahead and show us what you can do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, we go presentation of plaques and outgoing council members, Mayor Ron Ramsey and Mayor Pro Tem Ray Singleton. And she'll be right back.
Thank you. So Councilman Horn is actually going to present the awards. So I believe that Mayor Ramsey and Mayor Pro Tem Singleton, you could meet him at the podium and then he'll do the presentation.
Okay.
Okay, well, we're gonna do Ray first. So on behalf of the city of Kalinga, the entire council, we give you this plaque for recognition for your dedicated service for the last 4 years. One of the things that I've learned from you was more patience. That was the biggest thing, is more patience.
Yes.
That's one of the things that you taught. And if I remember right, I think I taught your kids that back in baseball. So, on behalf of the city, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now next up is for Ron Ramsey. He's done something here that Kalinga is no longer going to get to see again, ever. And that is, he's the longest sitting council member this city will ever see again. Now that we have term limits, we're stuck to 8 years, and that's it. He's been here 25 years now. I believe was close to 26. So on behalf of the city and the council, I'd like to present you with a plaque. It's a clock for the years of dedication, and also a key to the city as well for all your hard work. You've taught us a lot. We wouldn't be where we're at right now if it wasn't for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Put it in there so doesn't get scratched up. Would you like to say something real quick?
Ray, would you like to say anything?
Oh, yeah. You know, initially, this wasn't for me. I was asked by a young lady to do this. Didn't know what I was getting into, but I said, yeah. And that's Dawn. Had no idea. But in order for me to do this, I had to have the backing of my queen and my prince and my princess in order for it to make it happen. So without them, I wouldn't be here. But since I was here, I had an agenda, as we all do. After seeing the budget report, I'm thinking, man, I got to rob a bank to get this city back to where we needed to be. But working together with the councilman, Marissa, everybody who had input, my agenda was covered. I just wanted to get the city back into the black. But I wanted the city to grow as one, with the fire chief, the city, everybody to unite as one. And it's there. So I feel like my mission is accomplished. I mean, and all you guys got to do is maintain what we left for you guys to do. And I have the utmost confidence in all 5 of you. It's great, it's great. But you guys have the best city manager here. I mean, we sit back here, but she does it all. I mean, man. And if Avenal comes and try to take it, we got problems, Avenal. It's not gonna happen though. But thank you, thank the city. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Well, I'm just a man of a few words. I want to thank everybody. We do have one of the best city managers, if not the best. I've been through a lot of city managers, and if you know the history of Coalinga, we went through a whole lot of city managers at one time, and we have a good one now. So I hope you keep her, and she'll do you a good job. We have our staff. All the girls down there are great staff. Our public works you can't compare them to anybody else. Our fire department, it's one of the greatest fire departments now that we've gave them the equipment to do their job. And the police department, you call for a police officer, he's there right away. And I'm just proud of being part of this, and I'm glad that everybody's doing well right now. And we even have an assistant city manager. We didn't have that for a lot of years because we couldn't afford it. But then the council had to change their attitude on some stuff and to make some money in here. And I think we did the right thing, and it worked. And with all the new faces we have, I don't think, are any of you guys over 50? I mean, they'll be here for a while. Yeah. So I think you guys will do a good job. I have a lot of confidence in everybody that's on the council. And Marissa will keep them in straight. So she'll do a good job on there. And so I'd like to thank everybody for everything you've done for me and everything that's going to happen in the future. So good luck. And thank you. In the old days, I used to jump up there. Okay. Next, we're going to have the swearing in of the council members of Nathan Vosberg and council member Lonnie Hedgecock. Lonnie, could you come up to the podium? Okay. Okay, get over here. No, and we'll take that with us. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna say this slow, and you can just repeat after me. Okay. I, state your name,
Lonnie Hitchcock,
do solemnly swear or affirm the Constitution of the United States. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the lettering, okay. Okay, we'll start over. I, state your name,
I, Lonnie Hitchcock,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and to the Constitution of the State of California,
and to the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of when I am about to enter.
the duties of what I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate the chance to serve my community, and thanks my family for the support.
Councilman Hitchcock, before you come up here, sorry, Senator Hurtado would like to present you with a certificate before you take your seat. Ron, you can grab your nameplate and keep it.
Hey, Ron, I'm still gonna bug you at your house and for advice.
Pardon me?
I'm still gonna bug you at your house for advice, so
no
you're not done yet.
I'll save it for you. No.
Thank you. So now we are going to have Senator Hurtado at the podium, and she will swear in incoming council member Nathan Vosberg.
Okay,
All right.
ready? Good evening, everyone. Nathan, if I can have you raise your right hand. And can you please repeat after me? I,
I,
Nathan Vosberg,
Nathan Vosberg,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the State of California,
to the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon
the duties upon
which I am about to enter.
which I am about to enter.
Congratulations. Photographer. Thank you, Mayor, Council, and for having me here, for the invitation. It's always an honor to come back to Coalinga. You've all have been wonderful to me, and I hope to continue to come on back. And I do want to just let everyone know here in the chamber that I've brought some cupcakes in celebration for for the newly electeds and also for those that served on the council for all their work and commitment to the community, and as well as Alvaro for his retirement as well. Thank you for having me.
I want to get a quick picture. All right. So I just want to thank everyone that supported me. I want to thank those that didn't support me because you got me anyways. I want to thank Senator Hurtado for coming this way. I want to thank Ray Singleton for all the work that he did. We agreed 99% of the time. And, you know, the little difference just separates us as people. But I know that he put his heart into it. Oh, you okay? Okay. And I want to thank the council and mayor and everyone for listening to me for the last 4 years, because I know that couldn't have been easy. So I want to thank Richard Hill and the chamber. I want to thank Scott. I want to thank pretty much the entire city for giving me another shot up here. So thank you so much.
So the next item on the agenda is reorganization of the city council. We currently do not have a mayor or a mayor pro tem because they just got off the council. So at this time, if anybody would like to make a nomination for mayor, you can do so now.
I'll make a nomination for Mr. Horn to be mayor of Coalinga.
Are there any other nominations?
I'm going to nominate that we let the people of Coalinga vote for the mayor.
Are there any other nominations?
I'll go in the order that we received the nomination. So Councilman Horn for mayor was motioned by Ramirez. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a second. I'll do roll call. Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Horn,
Aye.
Councilman Bosberg,
You know, I like Jim, but I want the people to have the mayor, so I'm going to vote no.
and Councilman Hedgecock.
Aye.
So if you cannot change seats yet, we'll do mayor pro tem, and then everybody can change seats, and then we'll break, and everybody who's dying to have a cupcake can take a cupcake. So are there any nominations for mayor pro tem?
I'll nominate Manny, Councilman Ramirez.
Are there any other nominations?
So we have a motion for Councilman Ramirez to serve as mayor pro tem. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
A roll call, Councilman Hedgecock,
Aye.
Councilman Horn,
Aye.
Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
and Councilman Bosberg.
Aye.
Thank you. So we'll take about a 3-minute break if everybody's okay with that. You can adjust your seats. Shannon will change the nameplates. Everyone can take a break, take pictures if they want, and then we'll grab the cupcakes.
Okay, so.
Trade me seats. I said, Jim, trade me seats.
Congratulations.
Can everybody please be seated? We're going to continue on with the meeting. Thank you. Next up, we have item 6.4, discussion, direction, and potential action related to 2022-2023 water year and water conservation efforts, including revisiting the current water restrictions.
I'm gonna clean some of this up over here. Thank you, Mayor and Council. For this item was really just to try to provide a little update from what staff has and what everyone's seen in terms of the current situation on the drought as it somewhat persists, even though it's raining. But we wanted to give kind of council an update on kind of where everything's at, as well as we did include the previous or the existing resolution that's in effect for all the watering restrictions, and just wanted to make sure that council had an opportunity to make sure that that's still consistent with what we're doing in terms of watering during this time, as we know that the water year starts again in March 1st. So as we know, this year has been pretty dry. We've had some of the driest water years on record. But the recent rain and snow has significantly improved the outlook for next water year. So we are optimistic, but that's not to say that things could change tomorrow or in a week. We'll continue to hope for more rain and snow and cold weather so we can try to hope and fill these reservoirs that we rely on for our surface water supplies. We have seen a significant increase in the water supplies and the reservoirs that we rely on, which, as I think we've talked about in the past, is Shasta Lake. Shasta Lake is the critical reservoir for our water supply through our federal contract. The challenge is making sure it makes its way to the San Luis Reservoir, which has to go through the Delta. And so from staff's perspective, I will not get into that argument in relation to hoping that that water from Shasta makes it to the San Luis Reservoir. Since it is not a natural watershed, it does rely on that surface water making it into the reservoir. So right now, as long as it's continuing to rain, we have some calls into the Bureau to kind of see where their thought processes are. We are definitely trying to get ahead of this year, considering what kind of transpired last year in terms of just not getting additional water supply and the drought persisting worse. And so we're going to continue to monitor it. Right now, it's raining, it's great, which means we don't have to have sprinklers on. We shouldn't be using our sprinklers. And so at this point, staff's basically saying, hey, let's recommending stay at status quo, proceed forward, and we'll continue to monitor and update the council if you request, each meeting just to kind of see what we're hearing, provide updates in terms of where we're at and what to expect. As we look to the next item, this is basically staff's approach to get ahead of this in case something does occur where we do see a dry January and February and March. There are indications that may not occur, but we never know what can happen. And if it continues from today on to be dry, we would be looking at a similar situation as last year or the current water year. So we're not out of the woods yet. It's very promising, so I want to stay optimistic. But I still do want to emphasize that this could end very quickly in terms of these wet scenarios and these storms that are coming through. But it sounds like hopefully La Nina is weakening and El Nino is strengthening, and that will be a huge benefit to us having water even into April and even in May, but not during Horned-Toad Derby. So with that, I wanted to leave it up to the council if you have any questions for me. We will be talking about basically our existing rates, our proposed structured for a different rate structure, as well as the drought charge or the drought rate that Dan had alluded to earlier. So we can leave that for the other item, but I just wanted to provide council an update. And then if there's anything the council would like to do in terms of the resolution or anything that's on this particular item, I'd be more than happy.
What would you guys have any questions?
I have a comment. I would like to table this item and the next one for the new council to give us time to talk to city staff and find out. I have opinions, but I think it's only the best idea to be able to talk to city staff before we put our opinions out to the public, since we haven't had time to do that. So if there, I will make a motion that we table this item until next time, preceding any
Till the
further
19th.
discussion.
What do you guys think? Yeah.
I think that's right.
Okay, we'll go ahead and table it.
Okay.
Until the 19th of January.
Can I contribute to this?
Yes.
I can't be here on the 19th. Do you, Nathan, do you mind if I comment on your request?
Mm-hmm.
The intent of the presentation tonight was to present tiered rates and to present drought contingency rates, with the possibility that City Council would basically nod at issuing rate increase notices so we could be prepared in April or May. So you wouldn't be approving the rates. And in fact, if those notices were sent out, the rates could be lower that you approved later on, but couldn't be higher per the process. My concern is a lot of work's gone into presenting tonight, and I cannot be here in 2 weeks.
Would you guys be okay with allowing him to at least do his presentation? Then we can still discuss our part the next meeting.
So if he just wants to, are you okay with doing your presentation and then us moving to vote till next time?
Well, City Council will decide as a quorum. Obviously, I'm okay with whatever you do. It just, the work's been done, and it'd be nice to present.
Well, I don't have a problem with the presentation. I just think that those new council members should get a chance to talk to city staff before we make any decisions, especially on whether or not we're going to move forward with any kind of Prop 218 notices. That's just that's my thoughts.
So Dan, I think you're good to make your presentation for item number 5, and then at the end, someone may make a motion in support of what you're asking, or someone may make a motion to table it.
Mayor, are we going to table item number 4, or are we going to discuss it?
You guys want to make a motion to table it, or
I
you
make a
guys want to
motion.
continue with it?
I make a motion to table item number 4.
We have a second.
Is there like a deadline or something like that? I mean, I know you guys work really hard on this, but,
Hold on one sec. So we're still on, we're on number 4.
Yes.
So if we want to, the motion's on the table to table number 4, and then we can just move to number 5, and then the council can decide what they want to do on number 5. So number 4 is just basically my update,
Okay.
and then just revisiting the restrictions. So I can bring that back. If I have any additional update, I can provide that. And then that would just be, the resolution will be on the table again for any changes in the restrictions.
okay, yeah, that sounds good, okay. Then, I second it.
To table item 4.
Consensus, or do you need roll call?
Either way. Bring it.
Consensus.
Okay, next we got item number 5, or 6.5, or actually it's 6.6. Recommendation for the City of Coalinga, or City Council, to approve a contingency drought rate water rate and authorize issuance of rate increase notice.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. So, Robert, are you advancing? This item is to prepare for what could potentially happen with water this summer. It's looking less likely with these storms coming through. So the purpose is first to reset water rates for the next 3 fiscal years, to establish pre-approved drought rates for varying degrees of ongoing drought, and to establish a surcharge mechanism in the event water is again purchased beyond USBR supply, so that in the event these things happen, we don't have to go through the lengthy process again to be able to act. It's so critically important to keep the water enterprise fiscally healthy. Oh, good. So next slide. So I just want to touch on the Prop 218 process. It's a requirement of California law. This process, it was a result of Prop 13 years and years ago to prevent utilities and municipalities from taking money from one fund to another, especially utilities. So just to summarize this, and for some of you that haven't seen it before, this process we have to go through to change water rates, to change sewer rates. Revenue from the water ratepayers has to stay within the water enterprise. It can't be used for other things, like buying fire trucks, for example. So water ratepayers are paying for their water and their water only. Within each defined customer class, the amount of money that's collected needs to cover that customer's cost. Like in this case, the prison and the state hospital are their own customer class because they're so big. A rate study that supports the results in the event anybody questioned it, to demonstrate, hey, you know, they did their math. And then notices have to be sent out to all customers at least 45 days in advance, which is why I'm here on January 5th to responsibly try to move this forward for the benefit of the city. So the rate notices go out, excuse me, wait the 45 days, have a rate hearing, and at that point, from that rate notice, customers can protest. They can send a letter, it has to be in writing, that says, I don't like this. And if more than 50% of the customers send letters, you can't proceed. I don't think I've ever seen more than 10 letters. It's just not something that people do. So when we get to that rate hearing, which if you look at the next slide, is what the schedule could be, the notices would have to go out by January 26th to do a rate hearing more than 45 days later, which would be March 16th, for the rates to be effective April 1st. And that way, we're getting the rates in place before summer water usage. So, moving on. We are these are existing rates. Skip that page. I'm sorry. Let's look at the existing rates again. So these are the existing rates from the September 20 study. The rates are set to take you through into fiscal year 25. We just implemented the 8% increase. And if this were left in place, there would be a 3% increase next November and another one. And if the city were able to take supply of 4,000 acre feet of water, this still works, which surprised me when I look at the numbers for fiscal 22 and the projected numbers for the fiscal year we're in. Even with all the drought, we're still making that important thing, debt service coverage. So we're pretty good. We're pretty good through this year that we're in now. It helped that there was the contribution of the payment for the water that was purchased, because it displaced water that you would have otherwise purchased. So it was actually made it all less expensive, because you didn't buy that little bit of water from the Bureau. But now what we're proposing is to start over again, April 1st, with 3-year rates. And that's what I'm going to talk about. Next slide. So we're introducing tiered rates for single family. You had this prior to 2015. We stopped that because of the San Juan Capistrano lawsuit. 6 years have gone by now. Many utilities still have tiered rates. I've looked at various articles, talked to the city attorney about tiered rates. We're good with tiered rates. The rate study will support tiered rates. What I'm showing you here is a distribution of all single-family billing statements. This shows you 27,000, and it's showing you what it's showing you on the left side is customers that use a lot of water. I stopped it at 75,000 gallons a month. It actually goes a lot higher, but if I included everything, it skews that. And what I'm showing you here are the natural cutoffs. 30,000 and above, there are 10% of the volume that goes to single family is 30,000 and above. And that 10% is 4% of the bills that are issued. So there's a small number of customers that are using all that water. And that's how we're defining the third tier, above 30,000. The middle tier is 6 to 30,000. That's 45% of the volume. And the baseline tier is under 6,000, which is where the text is there. That's another 45% of volume. In Coalinga, wintertime average volume for a house is between 6,000 and 8,000 gallons. So basically, customers get that 6,000 gallons a month every month first at a rate that I'm going to show you is lower than the rate now because of the benefit of tiered rates. But this shows the distribution, 45%, 45%, 10%, and the break-off marks. Next slide. I'm jumping right to the rate table. The first column under existing shows you the current rates in place November 1st. I've broken that out into different categories. You see the same number repeating itself. For example, the 266. And what we're proposing, at least at this point, and these numbers could be fine-tuned because we right now have a concept, the numbers are close. So what we're showing is that for the first 6,000 a month, instead of $266, it'll be $2. And for that middle range, 6 to 30, it's basically just a little bit higher than the same price, $277 instead of $266. I'm going to show you a graph in a minute that gives you a visual. In fact, what I've graphed is what's highlighted. But then you see the jump for those people using a lot of water to $7. And what I'm proposing is that these same residential rates apply to residential homes that are outside the city. So they will be treated the same as customers in residential single family inside the city. So you see that down below. With regard to the drought rates, I'm showing two scenarios. The first one is for a mild winter. 3,440 acre feet would be how much water the city got last year if we had been in that drought situation all year long. Remember, it kicked in later in the year, so the number was 3,700. Well, 3,440 is what it would be if we brought it back to cover the entire year. So if we were this year the same as last year, these would be the rates, how much they would need to be increased to cover the fixed cost component of operating the system. And again, that principle that no one likes, yes, if we move less water, we have to pay more for it because of fixed cost in the system. I'll show you a visual of that. If we went to public health and safety, which would be just this side of an emergency, 2740. 2740 is the public health and safety calculation, 50 gallons per capita per person in the city. 30% reduction on everyone else, except I left the prison and the state hospital where they are because they just can't conserve anymore. That's where 2740 comes from. Next slide. This is to show that in what I'm proposing, the fixed cost components are not changed. Although, in the current rates, the rates are escalated at 3% a year. Because of the big jump in inflation, the rates that I'm presenting would be escalated, and this would be noticed to customers at 4% a year, a little bit higher. I also put this there to look at the fine print, which actually I can read. I'm proposing that in the drought scenarios, we would be able to extrapolate around the numbers depending on how much volume we got. So it wouldn't, if it's not exactly that volume, we would extrapolate between one number, one rate, and the next to find the spot to cover the fixed cost. What's also being proposed is that if the city has to go out and buy water, as I already mentioned, that the surcharge, there could be a surcharge. I would envision that as a line item on the bill. And what I'm specifically proposing is that the cost of that water would be allocated over all the volume over the next 12 months to each customer. So the more water a customer uses, the more of a contribution they would make to the surcharge. Again, these steps that are being taken are to anticipate the challenges that we could face if the drought continues, and also to introduce tiered rates. Next slide. This shows the tiers compared to the current rate, $2, and this is under the normal situation, not the drought situation. So $2, $2.77. In that middle tier, it's essentially the same rate, 10 cents higher. And then $7 for above $7. $7 for above 30,000. Next. So I just want to take a few minutes so that you can understand this. This is for single family. It's dollar cost per month on the vertical, and it's how much water a customer uses on the horizontal axis. So I put those two lines at 6 and 30 to show the breakoff points. The bottom dashed straight line is the current rate. So a customer's bill goes up linearly as he uses more water, because it's just volume times 266. But then what you see on top of that is first the proposed base tier rate and then the two drought scenarios that I showed you. So what you see is that a customer using up to 30,000 gallons per month under the tiered rate pays exactly the same amount as they do now. That's where we are right now. And then above 30,000, you see it start to escalate. In the drought scenarios, the red line is as last year. The top line would be the extreme drought. You can see the costs go up. In all the scenarios, the cost for the first 6,000 gallons is held constant at the $2 number. So we are covering single-family basic inside needs. Next slide. This just shows some examples of what I just said. It's the same up to 30,000 gallons. In the drought situation, at 30,000 gallons, mild winter, it's $16 higher. For the public health safety winter, it's $52 higher for the 32,000 gallons. Next. I essentially covered this. All of this would be noticed to customers in language. The resolution that you would ultimately approve would have a giant table in it that showed all the rates for the extrapolated drought rates. Next slide. So that covers it essentially. Again, the reason for doing this today on January 5th, right after the holidays, is to be prepared. The City Council is not required to approve staff issuing a rate increase notice, because it's just a notice. But it would be foolish for staff to issue a notice if you didn't already generally support what's being put out to the public. So that's why we're doing this. Depending on the outcome of discussion and questions right now, these rates could be finalized. They might be tweaked a little bit. I need to spend some time with regarding the expense projections. There needs to be a written study, which of course I would do to support the rates, and then the notice needs to be issued. So that's my presentation. Thank you for allowing me, since I'm here and this is important. Open to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bergman. Any citizens, would you like to speak? Seeing none, what about council?
I motion to table this item.
So all this is about is just having the plan there. It's not actually going forward with raising rates. It's just you have to have a plan in place in case something happens. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, the intent is to, number one, implement tiered rates. So it's not a do nothing plan. We're specifically proposing to implement tiered rates. In addition to that, there's the drought contingency rates. In addition to that is the opportunity for a surcharge if we went out and bought water, again, that's expensive. If we get 4,000 acre feet or more, the existing rates will be okay for another year. But if we don't, the existing rates are not adequate. And that will mean that debt service coverage will not be met for the fiscal year starting July 1. And it's one thing not to meet debt service coverage. We've not met debt service coverage before. We just increased rates. The bondholders don't like it, but they know, City Council, that you support making the right decisions. You have always made the right decisions to increase rates, so that satisfies the bondholders. The bigger issue from a practical standpoint is the water enterprise needs money for all the work that needs to be done on it. The system is 50 years old. And with inflation, the projects that were slated from the reissued 2020 bonds, which is why we did the last rates, it's not going to be enough. So it is so critically important to make sure that the water enterprise starts to gain some cash for capital improvement. And this protects that, so we don't get behind again, having to make up.
So are we talking about capital improvement here, or are we talking about raising rates because we aren't gonna have water? Because I haven't heard anything about capital improvement in your speech right now.
No, the capital improvement was covered in the 2020, and the simple point that I'm making is because the water enterprise has been struggling with fund balances down to zero, it's recovering now, but we want to keep it recovering, the fund balance. And that money can be used not just for capital projects that you've already been shown in the last rate study, but for other purposes as well, increasing operation and maintenance expenses.
Is there a talk, I know so you mentioned something about putting aside the prison hospital. I mean, I know I see the graphs about, a single family. Is there a way that the state or something, they could gather up a group of the inmates and make them to a single family where they could spend, not overspend water?
Well,
where they don't just use the excuse of we get money and they're gonna get money no matter what. I don't understand they conserved already, but I would love to see something where they're included in that, where they pay their fines.
In resetting the rates, the cost to serve the prison and the state hospital is covered. What happened last year, and what would have to happen again somehow, is if they say they can't conserve anymore, and they already have conserved a lot from 2015, if they say that, it puts us in the position of going back to Sacramento and saying, look, we can do the public health and safety calculation, but we can't control them. Last year, we got the additional water. Was it 500 acre feet, which was so valuable. So that's, fortunately, because they are, a powerful government agency, if you will, we can put the pressure on them to say, hey, if you're not going to conserve, then you need to find the water or somehow influence somebody to get a little bit more our way. So that's not really a critical issue.
I'll say that I disagree that that's not a critical issue. That is the issue. The state hospital and the prison are using most of the water. It's not fair to put that onto the ratepayers of the citizens to cover their butts out there. The idea that they can't conserve is ridiculous. The idea that they've conserved more than us is untrue. We've been conserving since 2015 as well, and they haven't conserved any more than we have. But yet, every time it comes to this, it's like, hey, you know, they can't conserve, commercial can't conserve, but you know what, we're gonna force the people to conserve. That's not fair, that's not right. The idea of having a tiered service penalizes larger families. It goes after people of Hispanic nature and origin on purpose, I believe. It's not fair. I believe that the lawsuit, this is just not good at all, if you ask me. I tried to table this, but if we're not gonna table it, we can have the discussion. I'd really like to talk to staff before we move forward with this. I don't think it's fair to the staff to have new council people that may not understand everything moving forward with it, or someone that hasn't had a chance to talk to them yet about this moving forward with it. But if we're going to, we can spend an hour here, because that's about how long we're going to be in discussion over this.
Well, one suggestion is to come back and do a workshop. It is different in that we have the council transition, we have an empty seat. I understand that. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to present the work that's been done. A key decision to make is tiered rates versus not tiered rates. You may want to ask the city attorney's opinion on the legality of it. With regard to the drought rate scenarios and the purchase surcharge, that's just a mechanism. It's just a mechanism. But tiered rates is a change in how you treat customers.
Scott?
Scott Netherton, 424 College Avenue. For us lay people, I know you spend a lot of time on those graphs, and you understand it, I don't. His question was, is this just worst case scenario, or are these gonna be implemented? That's what I didn't hear an answer to. Are these, if this is approved, are tiers going into effect, and are those rates going to happen in preparation for what could happen? Or is that just have it on the books, and then if worst case happens, then it goes into effect?
Thanks for asking the question again. So the proposal, as I've presented it tonight, is that tiered rates would be proposed and sent out to customers. You wouldn't be approving them tonight, but we'd be telling everyone in the city, hey, we're proposing tiered rates. They wouldn't actually be implemented until the rate hearing after the 45 days and count the protest, and then you have to vote. We need 3 votes. So the tiered rates, if we were to go forward, would happen. The drought contingencies that I talked about and the purchase surcharge would only happen if we were back in that drought scenario or water were purchased.
Roger? Mr. Tiffin?
Hi, I'm Roger Tiffin. I live at 541 Malibu. I really do support the tiered rates. I was a little offended by the council, not you individually, but the decision of the council last year. Waited too late, did nothing until we were in a panic mode, asked us to conserve. I let my lawn die. I get ridiculed for it by people that were wasting, and then you gave them their money back and made me look like a fool. So I spent $300 replanting my lawn. I could take you, if you want, call me up, I'll give you a ride and I'll show you people watering 6 nights a week. Lawn so thick I couldn't push my lawnmower through it. And I think tiered rates are the only thing that are gonna work. Now I think reasonable tiered rates, personally I'd bring it down to 25,000. My wife and I could get by with 4. My last bill, even with watering the lawn, hit 6. Now, there's only 2 of us, and I understand there's situations for different families. But unless you're gonna hit their pocketbook, they're gonna water, they're gonna run it down the gutter, it's not gonna work. I don't know how you can send somebody to look in somebody's front and backyard 24 hours a day. Because you take any one house, you don't know when they're watering. But the water meter tells you who's wasting water. And I think that's the only thing that'll work. So, but I do respect and I agree with waiting, and the new council members, you guys need to talk to staff and figure something out. But let's do it in January and February. Let's not wait till midsummer and panic. Because I think there's a lot we could do to cut water right now. Do alternative landscaping or whatever, so let's just address it. But I really agree with the tier rates. Thank you.
Council, would you like to do a workshop? I guess I can ask that question.
I would.
We have one more, Mary.
Don't go too far, Dan. I've brought it up before, and Nathan touched on it again. For a household of 8 to be restrained to the same requirements as a household of 1 or 2 or even 3 is ridiculous. It is ludicrous. It is unfair. We've had conversations about offering exemptions or a method through which people could address that problem. But you've got a family of 8 or even 12 people, they're out there. They're not totally isolated. And they're already providing for that many more members in their family. And then to say we're going to charge you more for your water. And I know that they're not the huge ones at the tippity top, but they are going to go over that. I know I have family members and friends who are going to go over that. And it's not fair. It's just not fair. So you guys are smart. You can figure out a way to provide some sort of process that if I have a family of the people across the street have 18 people, I believe, living at their house. Could be less. But it's not a family of 4. And they're going to be put in the same situation as, you know, the little old lady that lives on the corner with, or whoever, forget the age, sorry about that. It's just not fair. So you guys are smart, you figure it out. I don't know what you can do or not do tonight, but please keep that in mind. It's just ridiculous to expect. That's like, I'm not even going to make parallels. You can do it. Thank you.
Can I ask another question, Mayor? When council moved forward with extended structures onto houses in order to solve the housing crisis, which I was completely against at that time, now this water will be counted as their family usage as well, correct? If they don't have a separate meter? So that means that people that rent out a garage or rent out a place like that, those extended people will also be part of the first people's water rate. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. There are never going to be perfect rates. A counter to the argument would be more people, especially in a situation with an ADU, it's more opportunity to pay for the water. But there can never be perfect rates.
That's untrue. The perfect one is free. Robin? Yeah.
Hi, Robin Scott, District 1. I have a question. So we're looking at the residents taking the brunt for the state hospital and the prison. We're told that they are conserving as much as they can. I'm sorry, that's bull. It's bull. And I think maybe you guys need to be proactive and see what we can do about getting the state to provide the water for the prison and for the state hospital, because the state of California seems to love their prisoners, love their criminals, and love their SVPs, so let them take the brunt. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, council, you guys have any questions, any more comments? What would you guys like to do?
Table it and workshop it, and then do it at a quality, quick time.
So what's a good date for you to bring this back?
Let me coordinate that with staff.
Okay.
I mean, candidly, I'm not as concerned because it's raining so much.
Right.
So it may not be so critically important that those rates are in place, the contingency rates, especially April 1st. You know, we have some breathing space.
Okay, okay.
So if it's not the next meeting, it could be the first meeting in February?
Yeah, well, if we can get a workshop set up, I'd like to at least bring it back on the 16th of February, if possible. That gives us enough time to put it out there for the workshop, actually discuss it, and then bring it back to you as
The second meeting in February?
the second meeting in February, if possible.
Okay, I'll look. And then, City Council, any requests that you have in preparation for that helps so that we can best be prepared?
I would like to suggest that the city start looking at other water districts for money, for water, and other places for water than just the place we're looking at right now. I think that it's possible to do such a thing.
Are we able to look on the San Joaquin Valley side, where we were able to purchase the last water and have it shipped over? Are we able to do that again?
Water came from Patterson Irrigation District. We looked pretty exhaustively. Coalinga is an outlier. It's a tough situation. You have one connection to water. It's that aqueduct. But there's always more looking that we can do. The irony of this is that if plentiful water comes back, there'll be water available everywhere. The problem is that when we are in these severe drought situations, there isn't water. So that's the key. We need it when everyone else needs it.
Can I make a statement, Mayor?
Yeah, go for it.
So I just want to say that I feel like that as an oncoming council person, I haven't put a lot of time into talking to the city staff, and that I believe that there's a lot of importance into doing that, especially the people that work with the water every single day. And so, that's why I'm so adamant about tabling this, because I know we have good people and good staff, and I have not had a chance to talk to them. And I want to talk to the people on the ground, and I want to see the environment that we're in. And I think it's only fair that we get that ability, especially me and Lonnie, since we haven't been in this. And so that's the reason for this.
Okay. I think we're gonna table it at least until next month. If you could, let us know the first meeting or the second meeting, please, of next month.
So-
If it works for you to come back on the.
Sure.
Either
So it could be the first or the second
February 2nd or the 16th of
Okay.
next month.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next we have announcements. City manager's announcements.
I have none, thank you.
Any councilman announcements or reports? None? And I have none as well. Okay, next we're gonna move over to future agenda items. Actually, I can do the citizens, can't I? The citizens would like to announce.
If they have any announcements? Technically no, but
No,
I mean,
okay.
Ron always
I'll wait.
does, so.
Next is our future agenda items. You guys have any future agenda items? Yeah.
I just have one. Pretty non-controversial, I think. I would just like to have a future agenda item, and this might go with an item that you have coming up next month, Mayor, which is that under the code of conduct that we specify that the new council be sworn in the first meeting after the certification, and that the new council is sworn in first on one of the very first things on the agenda, rather than having it wait due to the people coming from out of town, to let them have time to see their people and whatnot. So I'd just like to make that amendment if possible. Make it a resolution.
Yeah, we will be actually going over the code of conduct and everything on the 2nd of next month.
So maybe if,
So that will be brought in, so we can discuss
Maybe if
that,
you
I'm
could-
sure, at the same time.
okay, thank you.
Anything else? Good. Okay, next we got closed session. We've got 4 items up for closed session. With that being said, our next meeting is going to be on January 19th, Thursday at 6 o'clock. Hope to see everybody there. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.